G'day there guys, I want to speak to your manager. Back at it again with another episode of r/EntitledParents. Now if you enjoy today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy today's bloody Karen stories. Posted by user Paeonia Lactiflora. Titled, "Oh, you got your BA? Do my son's homework." So, my mother has always been irritating. But when it comes to my little brother, 16 male, she goes completely berserk. She spoils him rotten and nothing is ever his fault or responsibility. Recently, he bragged about how he paid a classmate to do his homework and my mother called him smart for it. My partner has recently gotten his Bachelor of Arts in Graphic Design and my mother knows how good he is at art. He has nothing to do with my brother since I don't live at home anymore. My brother had this art assignment that he had several weeks to finish at home during quarantine. Well, he didn't do it. He didn't even start. 2 days before the due date, I get a text from my mum, the first one since my grandpa died months ago, that reads something like, "Oh, hi my little darling baby. Your brother has some homework he needs a bit of help with," and sends me the PDF with the teacher's very clear and simple instructions. I already think it's a bit weird, since she hasn't marked any parts of the instructions. I ask her what part he needs help with, and she says, "Oh, I thought you and partner could just do it real quick, and then your brother and I could finish it up." I told her that no, neither I nor my partner would do my brother's homework for him. She was like, "So you're just gonna make me finish it all by myself?" And I told her that maybe she should consider letting my brother do his own homework. She got very upset, and has been giving me the silent treatment for a week. Honestly, that woman will be the end of me. Edit, I am 22 female, not my mother. I'm sorry for wording it in a slightly confusing way, but please think about it for 30 seconds before making another comment about it. Also, to those of you urging me to call the school and tell the teacher he cheated, I don't know what kind of environment you grew up in, but the last time I told a teacher someone was cheating, I was maybe 8 years old. An adult calling the school and being like, "My little brother is totally cheating. I hope there will be consequences," would make me sound like a mini Karen myself. I am not going to waste my time calling the school, doing his homework wrong, or anything else that sounds like the plot from some 80s movie. Also, my mum can be a piece of work sometimes, and my brother is definitely a weird kid, but he's not traumatized, abused, or ruined just because his mum is annoying. Posted by user DoodlebugCutie. Titled, "I'm early, so where's my cake?" This didn't happen to me, but a co-worker of mine. I work at a bakery in a grocery store not far from where I live. A few weeks ago, about the beginning of June, it was extremely crazy due to an onslaught of cake orders made for graduations and birthdays. Thankfully, I didn't have to work that day, but the co-worker who this story is about told me the story of a woman who came in wanting a mermaid cake for her daughter. First thing I should mention, when we get a cake order, we always write down what time we can expect to see the customer. That way, we can sort the cakes based on how early they need to be prepared. Turns out, this woman comes in an hour before the decorators had her order finished, and rather than just doing other shopping and coming back, she stands right outside the bakery and impatiently waits for the cakes and cupcakes, interrupting every now and then to ask how much longer it's going to be. So, the decorators are just scrambling to finish both orders for her. Once they're finally ready, the woman takes it and decides to balance the large box on the seat for small children at the front of her car, rather than making room for it in the basket. My co-worker warns her about the potential accident this is likely to end in, but the woman shrugs the warning off and basically ignores her. Well, she decides to go through self-checkout, and guess what happens? That's right, the cupcakes fall. She marches back over to the bakery fuming, like they had anything to do with the mess all the way from the other side of the store, and demands that they prepare more cupcakes for her. Grudgingly, they fix what cupcakes they can and remake the ones that were beyond saving, all while she's bickering about there not any help in the self-checkout area. Lady, it's self-frickin-checkout. You help yourself. They eventually were able to get rid of her, but it backed them up on the rest of the orders they had to get done. Thankfully, that was the only memorable entitled parent they had to deal with that day, or at least what my coworker told me. Posted by user SleepyOWilted1203, titled, Entitled Aunt blames and tries to shame me because her daughter lost her diamond earrings. Okay, I must mention that this happened before lockdown. Also, please excuse the formatting, I wrote this on my phone. I went to visit my grandmother, who lives with my uncle and his family. My uncle's wife and I have never had a great relationship, long history of disrespecting and insulting my grandparents. For example, she tried to get them arrested by claiming they physically abused her, when in fact, there was proof that that never happened. Anyway, this was just to give you the idea of what kind of person she is. Back to the visit. So we had a small party with all our distant relatives, and my aunt dressed up my little cousin, who was 6 years old, and put diamond earrings on her. Now, these were really big, uncomfortable earrings for a little girl to wear. Not surprisingly, during the course of the party, she pulled one out and lost it. Since I noticed it was missing, I removed the other earring and went to my aunt to return it and inform her of what just happened. Apparently, this was the wrong move because she blew up on me. She said since I saw that it was missing, it was my responsibility to find it again. She then moved on to say how careless I was for not constantly monitoring her child and how I was ultimately responsible for the missing earring. She also declares to the entire party that I was a careless person and a bad sister for not looking after my cousin. After much argument, entitled aunt confidently approaches my parents, demanding money, and also actually threatened to take my jewelry since it was rightfully hers, as I lost her earrings. Needless to say, the party did not end well. Edit. For those asking about what happened next, my parents and my grandmother got really ticked off. This is just one of many incidents that have happened over the last few years, but her trying to embarrass me in front of everyone and demanding money was obviously not well received by my family. I personally have cut off communication with her. I love my uncle very much, and thankfully still have a good relationship with him and my cousins despite her efforts to stop it. My parents have also chosen not to communicate with her, at least until she apologizes and acknowledges what she did was wrong. Posted by user SuhaiBB17, titled, Family of douches gets annoyed at me for doing my job. So I work as a cashier at a pizza place, and I've had my fair share of Karens, including one that called the cops. Check my first story here. But today was special. It was busy as hell, and in comes the douche family, complete with a Darren, a Karen, and their offspring, no masks of course. So Karen's already making a fuss that they have to hurry, and the line's taking too long. But I ignore them and continue taking orders. And eventually, it's their turn. Darren starts rambling on about how I'm too slow and that they're in a rush. But I silently just take it up and take their order. Their order rounded up to $27, and when I ask them how they will pay, they say cash. The Karen pulls out her coin pouch and dumps an avalanche of change. So now I'm fuming, because I hate this type of crap. And when the order is $27 fudging dollars, it'll be a pain. She slides the change to me and says that'll cover it, so the cogs in my scheming brain start turning. I decide to be a good cashier and count the change slowly, just to make sure I have the right amount. And then I just accidentally ended up messing up and have to restart. Karen was fuming at this point, but I just told her with my customer service voice, "Sorry ma'am, but I need to make sure that this is the correct amount." I could hear her snickering from the other customers who already paid, and thankfully douche family was last to order. So I decided to punish them for their entitlement a tad bit more. I then dropped the change and took my time picking them up and handed them their receipt. The douches spent more time ordering than waiting for their pizza. Was I being a dick? Yes. Did they deserve it? Yes. Sorry for the long story, but this just happened, so I remember the details well. Update. My boss texted me and told me the family of douche made a complaint and said I was being rude. Worth it. Posted by user Major Chop. Titled, Entitled Mother Discriminates Against Foreign Language. EM is the middle-aged Karen woman in the story, EK, some crotch goblin, and me, the one and only. Also, M is the lovely female that takes care of me. So me and my mother went to get some things at multiple stores, as we were missing some stuff that we needed. We entered the shop and disinfected our hands with hand sanitizer they had at the door. My mother comes from Spain, so she wants me and my brother to learn and speak Spanish. We've spoken it since birth, and we always speak it among each other. As we were walking, we were talking about all the things we needed to get as she forgot the list at home. Some people looked at us oddly, but they kept shopping like normal, not thinking much of it. Like all people should do. Here is where entitled mother and entitled kid come into play. They are talking about how we look and that we shouldn't be there. People start looking at them with a disgusted face. Entitled mother smiles and keeps walking toward me and my mother. Entitled mother clears her throat. Crickets can be heard. She clears her throat again, even louder. Me and my mum take notice and look at them, then walk toward the aisle with kitchen knives. Entitled mother to a random stranger says, "Look, they're buying a knife. What will they do with it?" The random stranger just looks at entitled mother shocked at the way that she just talked about us. Me and my mum go to the cash desk to pay for the things we had bought. Entitled mother makes another comment on our appearance. My mum, in perfect Dutch, says, "Have a wonderful day, miss." And I, in perfect Dutch, also say the same to everyone else. Entitled mother turns bright red and leaves the store in a huff, mumbling some very racist slurs along the way. Thanks for reading. Posted by user Bronze Butterfly. Titled, Screw Your Feelings, I Have Rights. This story was in the court section of the local newspaper today, and I thought it was relevant, so here we go. A local man was brought up on charges of assaulting his daughter, as well as using threatening words against her. Apparently, the daughter was just walking along, minding her own business, on her way to get lunch, when she encounters her entitled father. He asked her for a hug, and she refused. She got the lunch and was on her way back to work, but the entitled father followed her, blocked her path, slapped her in the face, and threatened to kill her. She escaped and reported him to the police. This idiot of a dad told the court that he did it because she was rude to him. The judge basically told him that the daughter had no obligation to him for hugs or otherwise. The daughter testified in court that she didn't want anything to do with him. The magistrate had to remind him that he couldn't tell her what to do since she was an adult. Entitled father insisted that he had rights, that he brought her into this world and spent money on her. The judge had to tell him off again, and I quote, "Your children have no legal obligation to you. She didn't ask to be brought into this world. You made that decision, and it was your obligation to take care of her. But she is not a child anymore. She is an adult now." He advised him, "You wouldn't expect that at your age, your father to come and try to discipline you." It ended up with entitled father being reprimanded and discharged for the assault, but he's on a 12-month bond to keep the peace because of the threats he made to his daughter. If he breaches the bond, he gets to spend 3 months in prison. For those of you asking for links to the report, no. It actually has the names of not only the entitled father, but also the victim, so I'd rather it not get out of hand if this post got big. I can provide proof of authenticity to the mods if asked though. Posted by user Rico DeFrico. Titled, Entitled Mother Asks Me to Turn Down the Volume on a Lawnmower. A little bit of context. I am 14 years old, and I have no way of making money other than mowing lawns. My local church's lawn is huge, and they pay my dad around $6,000 to $10,000 a year to do it, and he pays me $8 an hour, and we have to mow the lawn there every week, and it takes us about 2 to 3 hours each time. So we arrive at the church, lift up the deck, and release the straps and everything to get the mower off the trailer, and I get to use the zero turn this time. Fast forward about an hour and a half. Entitled Mother is walking up to us, because the church is next to a park, and says, "Could you turn down the volume of the mower, please? My son doesn't like it." Yes, that's right. She asked me to turn the volume down. "Sorry, ma'am, it doesn't work that way. You can't just turn down the volume because it's not a TV. Obviously, I knew what she meant, but if I turned it down, it'd take ages to do the lawn. "Fine then, I'll just tell your father, Go right ahead. He'll tell you the exact same thing, except he'll make it a bigger problem for you." "Fine." She didn't go to my father. She actually went back to the park and sat down with a crappy look on her face. Fast forward about 10 or so minutes, and Entitled Mother was ticked. She's walking over to me now, as I was on the south field next to my dad's truck. Entitled Mother, talking to my dad, says, "Your son is driving like a maniac." No, I wasn't, and he refuses to turn down the volume of the mower, and my son doesn't like loud noises. My dad says, "Sorry, suck it up, he can't turn it down." He was using finger quotes. "But what he can do is make it go slower, which makes it quieter." Entitled Mother, looking for a chance to cut him off and be right, says, "So that little crap lied to me." Well, yeah, but then it would take us much longer to do our work. My dad then proceeds to grab the edger and walks off to the highway to edge, and I drive off to finish mowing. Entitled Mother had walked away with a furious look in her eyes, but she couldn't do anything about it. Posted by user CJW5110, titled, "Apparently a rental dispute is grounds for life ruining." This happened 10 years ago. My god, I can't believe it's been so long. Buckle up, it's a long one. I was in college and had an off-campus house that I rented with some friends. The 2 previous years, I had found someone to sublet my place over the summer, which offset some of the costs of housing while I was working my summer job. In spring of 2010, I was looking to do the same thing. At the time, I was working at a store loosely affiliated with the university when I got a call from a parent who thought she was calling someone from the university. I explained the distinction, but said that I'd be happy to try to help her anyway. She told me that she was looking for a place for her son to store a couple boxes over the summer. Now, we had a lot of students from all over the place, and storage companies knew it, so they would charge an arm and a leg for every little thing. I'm talking about like $250 a month to store 5 regular moving boxes. I told her that I had a house with a basement nobody was using, and her son could always keep his stuff in the basement for $150 for the summer. She liked the idea, and as we continued talking, we decided that he would take a look at the place and consider subletting it from me for the summer, for $550 a month instead of the $1,200 a month that the campus housing would charge. He liked it, so I drafted up a sublease agreement, just like I'd done with 3 previous subletters. Got half a month's rent, plus another $250 security deposit, and we had ourselves a deal. I told him, in person and in writing, that since he wanted to move in the day after my lease started on the place, not everything would be perfect. I'd need some time to get everything in, but he'd have, at the very least, a bed, desk, standing AC unit, and fan. It is worth noting that once summer started, I was A, working a terrible traveling salesperson job that had me working 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., and B, prepping to take the LSAT in mid-June. That said, I met him when he moved in and showed him the ropes. I rigged up the AC unit so that the condensation would drain out the window, so he didn't need to worry about it, and I gave him all the information he needed. 2 days later, I get a call from him at 10 a.m., saying that the AC was leaking. Okay, I told him, I'll be there after work. I get to the house at 9 p.m., only to find that he did literally nothing about the problem. The AC was still running and leaking into the room. The carpet was soaked, and a bunch of my furniture was pretty heavily water damaged. I figured out how to get most of the water out of the carpet, turned off the AC units, and told him that I'd come back with a window unit when I had the time to get one. The next day, he tells me that he wants to move out because it's too hot and the room now smells. I'm frustrated that he wants to break his lease because he decided not to do a damn thing to fix the problem that happened, but whatever. I went to the place to talk through next steps, and here was our interaction. I say, I get that you want to leave, but we have a contract. What is your expectation about money? The tenant says, my mum says that since I was only here for a few days, you should refund the $475 I already paid you. Well, that isn't really realistic. You damaged my room and are breaking the lease. I can offer you $100. You can keep your stuff here. Just let me know when you want it and I'll let you in to get it. Well, I can't really say if that's okay. My mum wrote that check. I didn't sign the contract with your mum. I signed it with you. Your dad witnessed it. But it's not my money. I don't know if this is okay. Like I said, my contract is with you. It doesn't matter who pays me, the payment is on your behalf. Okay, I'll see what she says. He took my check and gave me back my key. I thought the matter was over. It wasn't. Within an hour, I got multiple calls from both of his parents. One was from his dad, who told me he was an attorney and would sue me for the $375 I stole from them. The other one was from his mum, who told me that she was going to 1. Call the school and have me expelled, 2. Call future employers and have any job offers rescinded, 3. Sue me and make me pay back everything and more, 4. Have me arrested for theft. It sounded crazy, so I had some friends and family listen to the message. Specifically, I had 2 attorneys and a judge listen, and all of them laughed, telling me just to ignore it, so I did. Worth noting, all of this went down the day before I took the LSAT. Not making excuses, but I got a 156 in that exam and basically gave up on the idea of going to law school as a result. I was not thrilled with the situation, but I thought they were just blowing off steam. Oh boy, they were not. 3 days later, I get a call and an email from the Office of the Vice Provost for Student Behavior. I was working, so once I heard this sternly worded message that I needed to call back, I was, terrified. Was I really going to get expelled over this? I call, and I learned that apparently I had presented myself as an agent of the university. I didn't. Told my tenant that my house was sponsored by the university. I didn't, and it wasn't. Stole hundreds of dollars from the family. Nope. And I was stealing the tenant's stuff. I thought I was just being a decent person by letting him store his stuff without charging extra. Whoops. After explaining, the person on the other end clearly recognized that I was representing things accurately. She even told me that I was relatively reasonable for writing that check for $100, as I really didn't have to, given the damage that was done to my room. She also told me what she'd told the tenant's mum. This was a dispute between a landlord and a tenant, and it had literally nothing to do with the university. The tenant apparently wanted to pick his stuff up, so I went back to the house that night and he took it. But it wasn't over. In September, I got another email, this time telling me to appear in person. Again, I got nervous as hell. Once I walked in, the person rolled her eyes and said that she wanted to have me come in so she could tell this tenant's mum she'd talk to me so that the woman would stop calling. Apparently, she'd called no fewer than 12 times. But it still wasn't over. In December, my parents got a handwritten letter informing them of the tactics I was using to bully and intimidate the tenant and his parents. As with the other letters, emails, phone calls, and miscellaneous threats, I ignored them. No lawsuit came. They lived across the country, and there's no way that a small claims court would have had me reimburse $375 and pay $1,000 for round-trip airfare and hotels. I honestly would have been impressed if they decided to sue me on principle. The matter finally went away without the ruining of my life, my expulsion from school, rescinding of any job offers, or, well, any other consequences. But yowza, was that a bonanza of crap. Alright, and I think that's where we're going to leave today's episode, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed the content today. If you guys loved watching it as much as I loved making it, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below, maybe like the video, who knows. I'd also like to take this time to thank my awesome Patreon and channel members. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be homeless on the streets of Ireland, crying, Irish dancing all over town. It would just be a mess. But no, for real, you guys are up on the screen now. Thank each and every one of you guys. And if you personally want to join the club yourself, there are links down in the description below. There's also the join button next to the subscribe button. Small monthly fee, but hey, it goes a long way to help me create more awesome content. Well, with that said, guys, I hope you do have a lovely day, night, sleep, evening, day at work, day at school, whatever you're up to. I hope you keep awesome today. You're looking amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.